Welcome back to our third episode of Plug Me Everything, previously known as Show Me Everything, but we decided for this unique episode we would just change the name. Today we are going to talk about SetMat Plus and why we decided to throw that away, which is very sad, and we mourn the loss of SetMat Plus.
But that's less work for us.
Exactly. We're also going to look into the greatness that EffectMat has been since its launch last week. We're going to look at many of the compliments and some of the not so compliments. And we're, after that...
Previewing the new free plugin, TextBorder.
We will preview the new free plugin, TextBorder, which we launched some promo videos of earlier this week, and that will come out next week. And then one last thing, which is a little bit of a secret, which we'll leave to the end so that you don't click stop. Or you might just fast forward to the end.
Yeah, they can do that.
Because it's not live, so don't do that. So I'll hand over to James to read through the memoirs.
Yes, memoirs of a dead plugin. So we have to kill off our baby SetMat
Plus.
Because we just discovered that it's completely useless. And although we'd like to charge $10 for a plugin that's useless, we have...
It broke our moral code.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we didn't know this because we're not that experienced. So with this example, what we want to do is mat the red solid to the green solid, and we're using SetMat, not SetMat Plus, just SetMat Minus, the one that ships with After Effects. And if we move the green solid, that does not update in the red solid. And a few very intelligent people on the forums told us that if you set continuous rasterization, it will then update. And that was news to us because we actually made a whole plugin that essentially emulated clicking that switch.
Which I think we should be applauded for. However, at the same time, we should be equally criticized for not exploring SetMat into the rasterized abilities that it offered.
Yeah, because we paid it out saying it's pretty limited because we didn't know how to use it.
So on behalf of Plugin Everything and our entire team, we would like to officially acknowledge and apologize to Adobe, to anyone we've offended, and to all people and support crew of SetMat.
And if we look at the about in this SetMat, we can see that it creates traveling mats, which was lost on us because we thought it remained static. We didn't even click the about tab and see what SetMat did.
Yeah.
So.
We do, I'd like to also point out, we do take more due diligence in our other plugins. This one was, I'll call it a late night plugin. But hey, at least we're here acknowledging it. We've moved it to the side. We've been to its funeral. We've read its memoirs. And now we can move on.
So, based off of our first ever plugin on AScript's text box, we have one called TextBorder, which is free. It doesn't draw a box, it draws a border. But we have heaps of extra features. So let's just go through them now. This is what it looks like at default. And... regardless of how your text is, it will resize automatically, which is
very
great.
Exciting. It's very exciting.
And we have a square feature, which is even more exciting. We have the border width, which is obvious, and uniform expansion. This is one of the requests that we had for TextBox is, can you have individual expansion? So now we can do...
And the answer is...
Yes, we can.
We can.
Yes, now we can do expansion per side, which is very useful for sticking in logos or whatever, customizing it. We have roundness. Rounded rectangles are so in right now.
It almost looks like a button, James.
Yes, all these buttons you'll notice inside of After Effects are round because that's how stylish they are. So we can imitate that.
James, in his humble nature, has failed to mention he actually built After Effects.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Adobe. The secret's out. We had to sign an NDA, but. You know.
I built After Effects even though the it came... I think the first release of After Effects was the year of my birth. So.
Okay, James was busy in the womb.
It only took me 9 months to create After Effects.
It's a genius.
So we have some interesting per side corner attributes, which is very trendy. Let me just reset these. So... you can choose which corners are rounded. So you could have a stylish... Well, that doesn't look stylish, but I think...
Almost looks like Batman.
Kind of. I was thinking more like this. would be cool.
Mm.
Or you could just have all of them except for one. That's
Like a comment, like a little...
Yeah, this actually is almost identical to the chat in Messenger
Mhm.
when you've got just that little pinch. It makes all the difference.
Your second business venture.
I also made Facebook. You can choose which sides to draw, so I'll just remove the roundness. This is useful if you wanted to, say, just have it as like, I don't know, a hamburger menu, something like that, and if you rounded it, it would look cool. Like kind of brackets. Yeah. So, brackets that are customizable.
And it always animates relevant to the text.
Yes, I think my favorite thing to do with the text is just stack on some tracking and then it's going to update with that. Another massive request from Textbox that still hasn't been implemented, but we will be implementing, is gradient. So we can enable a gradient to this. I'll just turn on all the sides again so you can see.
Which we have on TextBorder, but we're going to move that.
We will add the gradient to Textbox as well, because everyone needs gradients, and you can got some presets here, vertical or horizontal. You can change the individual positions if you want to tweak it exactly. And we also have some dash options, kind of like when you're creating shapes in After Effects, you can add. So if you wanted to create a coupon, it kind of makes it look like it's a coupon.
And the dashes can animate?
Yes, you can offset those. You can also customize like how big or small they are. And that brings me to the line cap. You can have round or butt. So if we made this bigger, you can see we can actually change those. We also have a transform tab. Some of these features are super useful. So for example, if we had italic text, we could make the text border appear also italicized by changing skew to make it match. So that's pretty handy.
That's cool. And you can also animate any of these parameters?
Yes, actually almost all of these are animatable, but yeah, these ones can be animated, and they also have motion blur. And also if you wanted to sort of do a transition in, you could do that. You can rotate.
James, can you believe this plugin's free?
I can, because I made it. But otherwise, yeah, that's pretty good value for free.
I mean, I would expect to pay for something like this.
At least 30 cents.
I was thinking 35.
Huh. Well, that's too much. So
maybe we could add this to our Danos Direct catalog.
Well, you can't sell a free plugin on Danos Direct.
But today you can, James. For the free price of $0, if you never call, we'll make sure it stays always free.
You can have 2 copies for free. You can have 3 copies for free.
Generous is our last name.
But don't download it a million times from our server, because we're just on Squarespace and it will crash.
It will crash very quickly.
So that's about it for TextBorder. Pretty handy. And TextBox is the paid version of this, but it also draws the box as well as that one you got to pay for.
That one you got to pay for, because no one expects to get a box for free.
No, those pixels cost money. To do that fill costs money.
Lastly, which James is going to talk about, is our secret, which after this will no longer be a secret, is our next plugin, which we're looking to release, release date TBC, which I will hand over to James to explain.
So Autodesk has a compositing app called Toxic, and instead of using layers, it has nodes. And if you move the nodes around in your tree, it draws a very beautiful curved bezier between the nodes, and it updates the curve when you move it. So to do this in After Effects is actually quite difficult. So I've drawn what I want my bezier to look like.
Which looks great.
Thank you. Took me a while, but if I moved one of these points, then the bezier curve gets really ugly.
It's like, your final year exam at high school. It just gets messy really quickly.
Interesting comparison.
For those that passed high school.
Well, I can't read, so I didn't go to high school.
I also didn't pass, so both James and I are undereducated.
That's why we developed plugins for After Effects, because no one else will pay us to do anything else. So yeah, you can't move these points without the shape getting messed up. So is there a way to do that? Well...
Oh, yes there is, James.
There is. So presenting Bezier, if we move these points, the curve updates automatically.
Oh my god.
And we have a lot of other fluff here, but it's not final, so don't worry about that. But that's all you need to know, is that you can move these points and the Bezier curve will update perfectly. Oh, and one other feature that I have to show, this curvature. It goes from straight line to curved.
So 0 would be straight line?
0 is straight line. 100% is perfect curve, but you can actually overcrank it to unperfect curve. You can take it to 1,000% and create this ridiculous.
Wow, very
mess.
handy, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will actually create something cool out of that. But
Almost like a sine wave.
yeah.
Huh.
Well, that's Bezier, and that'll be releasing sometime in the future.
So that's pretty much everything for today. Another big shout out to Lloyd. I know this may seem like paid sponsorship, but it really isn't. We're super appreciative of him and the support that he's given us and to Plugin Everything. So big shout out to AE Scripts and AE Plugins. Big shout out to all the people that helped with the beta of Effect, Matt. It was really great to get all that feedback.
Which we're never going to implement.
Which we won't implement, but we still wasted your time just as usefully. Well, it's a Saturday and I haven't had lunch yet, so...
Oh, well, and I have, so...
Okay.
Goodbye.
We won't be having lunch together.
No.
Thank you for watching. Show Me Everything Episode 3. We'll be back sometime in the near future with Episode 4, and who knows what that will be about.
Some useless plugin that saves 2 clicks.
Until then, as James always says, and I've decided to take over saying it, buy our plugins, buy them all.